guys, Super Dave here, ready for another video. What I'm going to talk about today is 5 steps you can go through to reduce your risk. But before I get into that, I want to get back into the subject of why you should be listening to me. If you're sitting at your computer, what gives me credibility? Why are you listening to me? Well, here's my explanation. I've been doing this for 30 years, 3 decades of real estate. I've been involved as a real estate agent. I have flipped houses where I bought them low, I fixed them up, and I sold them for a profit. I own over 50 residential homes. I have a 31-unit apartment building, and I have created financial freedom. And that's really where you're wanting to get to, and I'm trying to give you the path and the journey to get there. The fact that I've been doing this for 3 decades is very important. I don't think you want to listen to somebody who's just getting started. Even if they've done it for 5 years to 10 years and they have 3 to 5 properties, that's a light experience. I've gone through 3 decades. I've seen the Great Recession. I've been through the pandemic. I've seen the rates go up. I've seen the rates go down. I have adapted to my environment and I've made it work. I have succeeded for 30 years. And my definition of success is freedom. I am completely free of work. I live at my house. I work at my house. I don't have a boss. I don't have a schedule. Last October, I went to the beach for 30 days and I sat by the ocean with my wife and just took 30 days off. I am completely free and I'm trying to get you to financial freedom. And I am still doing it today. I'm 54 years old. I currently have 2 houses under contract right now. I'm renovating a house. I'm turning it into a rental. I have another house under contract that I'm wholesaling and I'm flipping it to an investor. I'm still doing it today in today's market. And I started back in the early 90s and I have adapted to the new way of doing business. I'm starting to understand how to collect money through Venmo, starting to understand how to do videos of your houses and rent your properties online without people even coming by and looking at them. I'm adapting to the times. I'm doing it today as strong as I was doing it 30 years ago. So the reason I'm telling you all this is you're listening to the right guy. I started with nothing. I was broke at 28 years old. I'm a multi-millionaire today. I'm retired. I have succeeded. I've made it in life. Now it's my goal to teach you how to get where I am today. So the subject matter today is risk. It's not a popular subject. You're not going to see a lot of videos on why it is risky to be a landlord. And I'm going to explain why you are involved in risk when you buy a house and you have tenants inside your property. They are living in your house. They are dwelling there. So you need to make sure they're safe and they're protected. You need to make sure you're protected and you're safe in case anything happens. Step number 1 is you need to make sure you have good insurance on your property. And what this is homeowner's insurance. And when you talk to your insurance agent, you need to be very careful to make sure that you're insuring your property for the value in the property. And what that means is, say your house burns down, say something bad happens and you lose the entire property. You need to make sure you have the right insurance and you have the right amount of money to replace what you just lost. You need to talk to your insurance agent. You need to be very diligent about it and get the best coverage you can, and don't be skimpy on your homeowner's insurance. Now, another aspect of this is liability insurance. What I'm doing is I'm building a wall between my tenants and myself. If something bad happens, somebody falls off a deck, an incident happens, I'm insulated and protected before they can get to me and my personal money. And this is very important. I hope I never have to use it, but it only costs me $600 or $700 a year to get personal liability insurance, and I recommend that you do that. Number 2 is you need to have a strong lease. It's very important that your lease covers everything that could happen at a house, that has ever happened at a house. And like I said in an earlier video, I sat down with my attorney, I prepared a strong lease, and I put together a 41-page addendum. It is a thick, detailed addendum of anything that could happen at the house. And the reason I get so detailed is I want to make sure I tell my tenants how to act so they're safe and that I'm safe. Here's one example. It may sound silly, but I write in my lease, do not get on the roof. In case somebody gets on the roof and they fall and got hurt, you can go back to your lease. They signed it, you signed it, it's a legal document, and you asked them not to do that. This is going to protect your risk. This is going to reduce your risk. So go through, sit down with an attorney, write a detailed lease with a lot of addendums and a lot of detail, and make sure you protect yourself from anything bad that could happen. Step number 3 is a visual inspection. And what that means is I take the time. Like I said earlier, I own 50 residential homes. I have an apartment building. I've got a lot of property. So on particular days, I go out, I make an appointment for the house, I walk around and do a visual inspection. I go around the back of the house and I look at the deck. I make sure the deck posts are strong, that they're not rotted. I make sure they're secured to the house. If you don't have a lot of knowledge in construction, bring along a general contractor. Pay him for a couple days to come around and look at all your properties. Make sure if you go into a bedroom of a house that the window is big enough for somebody to crawl outside of. You always have to think worst case scenario. You're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to reduce your risk. Make sure there's egress. A person can get out of a window in case there's a fire inside the building. Make sure you have smoke detectors. Make sure you have carbon monoxide detectors. Take the time and make sure there's one fire extinguisher in the house. If you go through all these visual inspections and walk through the house and make sure it's safe for your tenants, and you've given them all the safety tools for that property, you're lowering your risk and you're protecting yourself. Step number 4 is I recommend if you own one house or if you own 100 houses, you should put them in an LLC. And what that is a limited liability corporation. All it is going to visit with your attorney, tell them you want to create a new LLC, create the name of it, and put your properties in the name of that corporation. This is going to protect you personally. This is going to protect you if somebody wants to sue you or if somebody gets upset with you. And I know this is not a comfortable subject, but it needs to be talked about. It's part of owning real estate. It is risky. There is some risk involved here. If you don't buy any real estate and you want to work your 9-to-5 job, you're going to have very low risk. But if you want to get into this business and if you want to own real estate and enjoy the cash flow, there is a level of risk that comes along with it. So I recommend that you get an LLC and you put all your properties inside the name of that corporation. If you don't have an attorney and you'd like to prepare this LLC on your own, there's many avenues for you to go online, pull up the paperwork, and every state is going to be different. So understand the rules for your state, and you register with the Secretary of the state, and you have your own LLC. Step number 5, I recommend you get a revocable family trust. I know that sounds like a big word, but all this is a document, and you are protecting your family and you're protecting your interest in your properties. This is going to have to be prepared by an attorney. And I recommend this at a young age. No matter how many properties you have, this is a process you should go through. And you're probably wondering, what is a revocable trust? Well, it's just a document. It explains everything that will happen with your assets and your properties and how you want things handled once you're not here. It'll go into detail about what will happen with this rental house when you are not here anymore. This is your ability to have a document in place that's going to explain and detail everything that's going to happen when you're gone. And in closing, I want to remind you again, make sure you're listening to the right guy. I am the right guy. I have lived and breathed real estate for 30 years. I am an expert in this field. I have excelled in it. I am successful in it. And I'm going to teach you every aspect of buying houses, maintaining them, and cash flowing them. I'm going to get you to success, and I'm going to get you to financial freedom. Thank you for listening. It's been another video from Super Dave. I really appreciate your time. If you could, subscribe to my channel. Give me the thumbs up if you can. Smash that thumbs up button, and I'd really appreciate it.